Welcome back to Bombadil Tree Farm, an American tree farm system certified family forest since 1978. My goal in previous videos has been to provide quality education. Well, I'm going to depart somewhat from that purpose in this video. It is such a beautiful late September day in the year 2020 that I want to bring you with me as I go out into Bombadil Tree Farm to salvage 2 large red spruce that were blown down by strong winds this past spring. These 2 fallen spruce lie within a very special area of Bombadil Tree Farm, an area that I have managed for over 40 years under an individual tree selection, continuous cover forestry system that maintains a high forest canopy, encourages late successional or old growth species, promotes and protects regeneration of many species, and maintains an extensive diversity on multiple levels. A diversity so complex that its discussion could occupy many fascinating hours. On top of that, it is breathtakingly beautiful to the eye, fragrant to the nose, endearing to the heart, and soothing to the soul. Every meter of road and trails en route to our 2 spruce offers its own special charm. We begin on what Kathy and I call the Yellow Birch Road. You might recognize it from an earlier video that showed me clearing it of snow. The same road, different season, different beauty, and different charm. The Yellow Birch Road ends in a forest opening, seen here in the winter, that we call the Christmas Tree Landing. Just off the end of the Christmas Tree Landing, we enter this trail that leads to Treebeard's Grove. But after about 20 to 30 meters, we turn off onto another trail that will take us to our 2 fallen spruce. We have now arrived. Fallen trees like this spruce can be very dangerous to cut. Tension within the fallen stem caused by retracting spring or pressing compression of the partially attached stump and the many limbs of the crown is unpredictable. Moreover, it's common to find smaller trees under incredibly powerful tension trapped underneath. This trapped maple is a perfect example. First, I clear any trip hazards from my work area. And test this small hardwood to confirm that it is strong and secure. It will help protect me should the trapped maple explosively split or spring in my direction. I then make multiple closely spaced shallow cuts on the maple's tightly compressed underside to reduce tension within the stem. I follow that by similar cuts on the top side. The maple is now cut in 2 without any snap or spring whatsoever. I then cut a block off the stump end to ensure it is now safe. Moving now to the spruce itself, I again first clear trip hazards from my work area. Although it is unlikely that the spruce, once severed from its partially attached stump, will spring toward me, I'm glad to have this stout and secure hardwood as added protection. These long splinters add small but significant forces, so I sever them to remove any problem they might present. To reduce the likelihood of the stem splitting, I first make a partial cut from below, followed by a cut from above. A wedge in the kerf will keep it open and help prevent binding my saw in the tree. Expecting this tree's greatest compressive force to be along the top of its stem, I planned to finish my cut from below. However, much of its core was not firm wood, and it broke too soon, pinching my saw. However, a few blows to my wedge, and both my saw and the spruce fell to the ground. The butt of this severed tree was not sound wood, nothing that a sawmill would accept. This kind of rot in spruce typically enters from its roots and clears as you move up the tree. Cutting off a short block brought me to sound wood. At this point, I could attach my tape. With my tape attached, I worked my way up the tree, measuring and marking log lengths. And freeing the logs of branches. After measuring and marking all logs, I bucked the now clean tree section from its top. I then released my tape with a tug and was ready to move to the second spruce. Once again, it is important to first clear trip hazards from my work area. And again, I am fortunate to have a small sturdy hardwood between me and the spruce. Employing the same technique, first comes a partial cut from below, followed by a second cut from above. Then placement of a wedge in the saw kerf. This time, however, I was more careful and was able to finish my cut from below and did not pinch my saw. Similar to the first spruce, this second tree's core lacked sound wood. However, the punky wood extended further up the stem, and I had to buck off several blocks before reaching solid wood. The first spruce lay behind several quality trees that I did not want to harm. By bucking it into two sections at one of its measured log marks and using a snatch block to redirect the winch cable's direction of pull, the two tree sections winched to the tractor, along with the maple that was trapped underneath, without scraping so much as 1 millimeter of bark off the intervening quality trees. The second spruce lay in a favorable position that allowed its single multi-log section to winch directly to the tractor, along with a couple maple that, although still standing, had been so severely damaged by the falling spruce that I decided to harvest them for firewood. I have already salvaged a small number of spruce waiting elsewhere in the forest, so we will skid these to a collecting trail where they can join the others for later forwarding to where a truck can easily reach them. The first of those other salvaged logs are waiting trailside near the southernmost boundary of Bombadil Tree Farm, almost 1 mile from the nearest access to a public road. 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers. We will fetch those logs first with the forwarding trailer. Any abrupt movement of the loader will cause logs of this length and diameter to swing and sway like pendulums, so it's important to operate the loader very slowly. A heel mounted on the stick boom of the loader would help control this problem, but despite its obvious value, I have not yet fabricated or installed one. After loading the bucked to final length logs from today's 2 salvaged spruce, we re-enter the yellow birch road with another 1/2 mile to travel to reach the public road where we will unload these. 1/2 mile is 8/10 of a kilometer. After about 200 meters, we exit the yellow birch road into another forest opening that Kathy named the Coyote Patch because of this coyote that she caught on film several years ago while it was hunting voles. After crossing the Coyote Patch, we round a corner into these several acres that, for over 40 years, we have successfully managed for wildlife habitat. This video footage was shot from this viewing platform that we now drive past with our forwarder load of logs. After another couple hundred meters, our road again enters the forest, where, 43 years ago, there was no forest, only an abandoned agricultural field. I planted these trees as small seedlings in 1978, and they now tower above us as we move down the road beneath them. Bombadil Tree Farms' unimproved natural surface access road meets the paved public road at the northerly edge of the plantation. There we have a coarse gravel spur that is accessible to heavy trucks in any season. This is where we will unload our logs, again doing so slowly, and they will be ready for George to haul at his convenience. Once again, very slow and steady with the loader to reduce swing and sway of these large logs. Back in the forest, where our two spruce spent every moment of their roughly 100 years of life, what is left of them are splintered stumps, blocks unfit for lumber, their branches and tops, and their children. Yes, their children. Now with a hole in the canopy, the children, hungry for their source of energy, the sun, will race for the sky. Well, race might be a bit of an overstatement. Compared to a fast-growing red spruce, a tortoise is a Mach 4 supersonic aircraft. But red spruce are very patient trees, and these sapling children, several of them already 1 or 2 decades old, will, after several more decades, replace their fallen parents in the forest canopy. An adjacent balsam fir overtopped this very promising youngster, so I felled the fir to provide the young spruce with more water, nutrients, and sunlight. The fir, as expected, was literally rotten to the core. I salvaged the fallen spruce because of their economic value to me, and because they would provide useful, 100% natural and renewable products demanded by fellow humans in our 21st century world. However, their removal also denied the forest ecosystem of the benefit provided by their slow decay on the forest floor. It is true that their tops, stumps, and a few lower blocks remain, but is that enough to maintain a balance? Forest ecologists have and continue to study such issues, and, fully recognizing that there is no free lunch, recommend target densities of what they call downed woody material or fallen deadwood that are sufficient to maintain a balance. Within 20 meters of today's 2 salvaged spruce lay this decaying beech that, having little value not even for firewood when it succumbed to beech bark disease about 20 years ago, I chose to leave. Eventually it fell to become home and food for microscopic organisms, insects, and small vertebrates. It also shows signs of a larger mammal, likely a bear, that has ripped it open, foraging for food inside. Nearby we also find this decaying fallen spruce that, while still standing and alive, displayed woodpecker holes well up its stem, indicating insect infestation and no commercial value. Woodpeckers and secondary users of woodpecker holes enjoyed it for several years. Eventually it died and fell to the ground. Although I was never enrolled at the University of Maine Forestry Professor Emeritus Max McCormick is one of my favorite all-time teachers. In an issue of Swome News way back in 2012, he published this enticing review of this book. Copies were difficult to obtain in the USA and, when available, were priced at multiples of its price in the UK and EU. Only within the past year did I locate an affordable used copy that still cost me more than twice its new price in Europe. If you are interested in the forest management concept I have employed for over 40 years within the stand where we salvaged today's 2 spruce, I highly recommend it. Available online for free download is this article authored by 5 Canadian research scientists and published in the Journal of Forestry. It is also very much worth reading. I consider this book an absolute must for anyone owning or managing timberland in Maine or the Maritime provinces of Canada. Hard copies are available for purchase at a very reasonable price. If you personally perform chainsaw work within your forest, I highly recommend a series of YouTube videos on the WorkSafe BC channel. Lumberjacks of North America's Pacific Northwest have always awed me, and WorkSafe BC's Faller training standards teach and emphasize time-proven safe techniques. One of special interest and applicability to my video is this one on bucking. Before you leave Work BC's channel, please watch this short video. This man, Jim Bassett, is arguably the pro of all professional fallers, having retired after a 37-year career without a single accident. His story is very inspiring. I have never met Jim. If I did, I'm certain I'd be so humbled that I would be speechless. Today is Sunday, February 7th, 2021, and I have almost finished putting together this video. After completing my winter timber harvests, I commonly use this time of year for the many hours required to trim, edit, and build, from hours of video footage and dozens of photos, a few minutes of final product. Weather conditions were terrific for this winter's timber harvest. Just enough snow to smooth my trails and provide great traction, but not enough to make it difficult or unsafe to move around on foot. This allowed the harvest to finish early, and the 8th and final truckload, shown here, rolled out on February 2nd. The deer enjoyed it too, but are probably disappointed that it is now over. It will be about 3 months before food comes to them so easily again. As you can see, they don't fear me or my tractor. To them, we are something like meals on wheels. After reviewing this video, I discovered that it was more educational than initially planned. Nonetheless, I hope that you still enjoyed it. Learning and fun should never be at odds with each other. I also hope that you agree the forest is a beautiful place to be and a wonderful place to work. It also is very unforgiving of carelessness and mistakes. It offers few second chances. The 3 most important things to remember every time you enter the forest to work are: number 1, safety. Number 2, safety. And number 3, you guessed it, safety.